allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mike Cunningham.
Here.
Marna Smith. Here. David Walker.
Here.
Soren Peterson.
Here.
Chuck Schultz.
Here.
Cam Gonzalez.
Here.
And Marcy Husted here.
Pertaining to the agenda, I'd like to add item number 10. Let's put it under new business. It's Schumacher Whiting Barn discussion and possible legal action.
And then can I make a change? Just the wording under number 9, new business number 9.
Yep.
It's a request to discharge the lien, and it's on the parcel that's listed, the 023, and it also includes the other parcel 4704033003. It actually includes 2 parcel numbers on it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll entertain the motion. So moved.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Agenda is approved. Next is approval of the consent agenda. The regular board meeting minutes from October 4th, 2016, the treasurer's report, and the clerk's warrants and bills.
So moved.
Support. Been motioned and supported to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Those opposed? Next is communications, items 1 through 5. Item 1 is Livingston County Sheriff's Report from September 2016, the Planning Commission meeting synopsis from October 11th, 2016. Item number 3, the Planning Commission approved meeting minutes from September 13th, 2016. Item number 4, the Planning Commission approved meeting minutes from September 29th, 2016, and the Revenue and Expenditure Report from September 20th, 2016. So moved. Support. It's been motioned and supported to receive and place on file communications 1 through 5. All in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Those opposed? Next is public remarks. It's the opportunity for the public to make any comments about any agenda items or any business. Go ahead, Scott.
All right, I see a couple things that I'd like to ask about as you're going. I missed a couple meetings on this watercraft residential commercial property, the waterfront number 3. That's what it is. And number 2, I think it's related to the exotic animals and stuff. I brought this up before, and it's just not my road. We're in a residential area, farming, and I know you're not authorizing. This isn't going to authorize someone to do it. It's setting up guidelines, right? For
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. I would like to ask the board that we take into consideration. There is a ruling for traffic or your neighbors that are going to be affected by it. There's so many 100 feet. From the actual, if someone comes in and says, I want to do this, and then you have to get approval from people, what is that called?
Oh, a variance?
No, not the variance. You know, your neighbors have to, be.
A land use permit or
Well,
a
it's
public
not
hearing?
No, it's
You know how
the
you got the
survey they
distance
do of the
down-
Setbacks.
neighbors.
No, not setback. Go down the road for your neighbors.
I understand what you're saying.
What?
You have to notify people.
Yeah, you got the 300 feet or.
Yeah, that's a public
Okay,
hearing.
all right. I'd like to ask the board that we can, and I know it's a small area. All the people on that road are affected. If they come off of Heartland Road, when they come off the expressway, if you're gonna have an exotic animal farm out here, or anything that's a business in these areas, that I think everybody that's affected by this should have a say, not just the people closest. I mean, we have to, I live with I got one down, I'm not gonna name it. I live with the traffic daily, it's bad, and when they have their events, it's terrible. I mean, it's terrible. I mean, we have to live with it, and I think more people in the communities have than just the immediate neighbors. Everybody that's affected. It's the roads. We have to maintain them. They're bringing many, many people, thousands of people, hundreds or thousands. I know thousands in my case, into the beating hell of the road. And I just think we should have a little more say and have every neighbor should be involved that's affected with the traffic. expand it anyway.
Thanks, Scott. Anyone else? Yes.
Yeah, Clinic Furlong, so just north adjacent property to the, have you stopped by, Mike, or anyone from the planning committee to actually see what?
Yeah, I've stopped by a couple of times. Within the last 6 months.
I think that's what you said, I mean, recently, within the last month or so,
I have not stopped in the last month.
because I think he said they were working on, zoning was working on wording, et cetera, back.
Right.
Is that still where we're at? Is that where we're at?
Well, right, the zoning has worked, and they have presented to the board a proposed ordinance for the keeping of those. They have not permitted him to have a business there yet. There's been no business has been permitted.
So has a business operating at what, his, responsible for that, are we responsible? If he's running a business, he's running a business, you know, that is.
Yeah, that it's not approved.
Okay.
So,
Because
he
he
does-
charges people to
Okay.
come there.
So then he needs to get compliant, otherwise we need to start
Well, that's why I'm bringing.
issuing him a stop.
Anyone from either group, planning or otherwise, are here, just stop by to talk to them and see exactly where they're at.
Yeah, and I'm sure that will happen during the process when he comes in to apply for his permit.
So he actually hasn't actually been.
He has come into the township when he was received notice about getting, and he's been told that we're developing the ordinance, and once we get that developed, then we would entertain his permit for it.
So I doubt very much that he's not going to receive it. Money invested. Hymns, et cetera, make it a property. Talked to him one time. Willing to do whatever.
Township requires him to do.
Commission.
Sure.
He says no one's been by to talk to him.
Oh.
That's why,
I've been by. I talked to him right there in his driveway.
and this was.
And I asked him about that play set that's actually, that you thought was a play set, it's actually an aviary for birds.
You know, he has a. Our thing for kids to play.
Yeah, that's the aviary, that's for birds,
That's gonna be.
for birds, enclosed, yeah. It's gonna have, I don't know if it's gonna be a screen or something, but that's what his intent was.
That's what his intent was.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just, next door, be assured that you're on top of it and not just kind of docile with it. Yeah, I stopped in a few months back, you know, but he still has people coming there. So he's actually operating the business without the permits, the proper permits. He
Okay.
hasn't been operating.
So then we need to have another conversation with him about that.
Well, yeah,
Sure.
I would think. I mean, they have improved the road, they did a nice job on the road, but parking,
Well, depending on what happens here, he's gonna receive a phone call from us tomorrow anyway regarding that, because he has to get permitted.
well, that's, I'm not saying the guy can't have a business and, you know, try to make income for his family.
Sure.
As long as it fits in with our area. Hard parked out on the road.
And he'll have to provide all that parking and everything for the planning commission to get approved, so,
Keep putting stone on the driveway.
Jeez.
there you go.
Hey,
It's that time of year. All right, any other questions?
that's just where it's at.
I'm just saying, last one you added on, was that the wedding one that the complaint come in like a year ago? Same place over here on, down on the corner for me, still going on?
We just found out
I never
about
bothered you about it, I thought you had it all taken care of. But I'll be interested to
it.
hear.
Well, wait till you see what happens tonight.
I, like I said, you know,
I love you, know that.
Well, thank you, Scott. Okay, we're going to move on to new business. Item number 1, unless anybody else has anything else? All right. Request to approve the Hoffman-Athanasio shared, how you say that?
Athanasio.
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 Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I needed a little help there. Shared private driveway and land division on Gordon Road. We have documents, and I think there were some concerns that we might not have everything. Cam, you were involved in this process. Could you clarify to make sure that we have everything that we need?
The last time that they were here, they had recorded all of their documents, the prints and what have you were recorded.
Okay.
And the only thing that was left for us to do, or for them to do, was the furnish us with the recordable deed or recordable driveway maintenance agreement, which they have.
Okay.
And I got copies of it, so I don't know if you all got copies. I did get a copy of it. And that was all that was left. So with that in mind, I would, unless there's any discussion, I would like to make a motion to approve.
So is this, we're going to request to approve only the shared private driveway?
Correct.
Because it says private driveway and land division.
So the land division,
I'm not,
no, I think everything on the land division has been approved, and we have the recorded
okay,
documents.
all right.
My question is, how can you record, how can you record a split?
Done it at the board.
No, we said it.
And I know-
Letter from the planning commission saying it's for the land.
Now, I know that this gentleman, the agent, he's been involved with other land splits though, so I don't know if it was for other ones he's done prior. Because I know Mr. Hoffman's been in before for other land splits this year.
Right. Well,
So I'm thinking this is, my biggest concern is that there's no legal descriptions attached to any of the documentation here. I don't have a legal description of parcels 1, 2, 3,
and
and
usually we
4.
can't do a land split, they can't record a land split until we approve it.
So I'm a little confused on,
Is this just, if we have everything for the shared driveway, we can do that. The land division, I'm concerned about.
and you have the documentation from the planning commission of recommending. So the planning commission's letter from October 11th, 2016, you're right, Cam, it says the shared private driveway off Gordon Road. So they have met all the stipulations for the private driveway, the shared private driveway. And now we have the maintenance agreement in front of us for that. But I'm not seeing a recommendation from planning commission for a land split.
Could this have land,
Oh, right in there, shared private driveway and land division. Al, you supported it. What was the motion?
And there is, you know what, let me look back on the communications.
We were all done with it. Yeah, we sent it forward. He had all the,
So maybe it was a land division that he did prior, and then it's just the shared driveway maintenance agreement needs to be approved for that?
I'm not sure, what's been approved and what hasn't. I just know that on the planning commission, we had everything done on that.
well, from our point, we have documentation for a shared driveway,
Yeah.
but we don't have it for a land division.
So can we just approve just part of this request that we have on the agenda?
Well, it is on the agenda. I don't see any issue with it. It's just,
But we're not doing land division.
Right,
it's
but I
just the
don't think they're
driveway.
gonna record just the shared driveway agreement. That doesn't seem
well,
right.
yeah, they can.
They do need to record it.
They-
It's a
Could there
part
not
of
be
it.
the legal description because a split was approved a long time ago, or were these splits just created
I
with
think
this?
they were just created this year.
the splits were created, the property has been there forever.
But-
I-
The splits have already been approved at a previous date this year?
According
or-
to the information we had.
Okay. So maybe was this a condition that had to be met? Is this maintenance
I would
agreement?
say that I'd like to amend my motion that we approve the shared driveway at this time and until we proceed with the investigate the recording of the legal,
Okay.
when we get the rest of the,
The
either from
legals.
Bruce or from,
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Do we have a second?
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the request for the shared private driveway on Gordon Road. Any further discussion?
Yeah, the only thing you might want to point out to the guys when you talk to Mark about this is that the subject just says shared private drive, but then in the language,
It's supposed to have a legal description.
no, it just says and land division, so it doesn't, it's almost as if they've addressed one but not the other.
both, everything was addressed, and I say at that time, he was supposed to record.
See, if you look at the language in there,
And,
yeah.
okay.
See, the heading is telling you shared private drive, and then the language in there then adds and land division.
Oh, jeez.
That's where I think we're getting a little confused with this.
Okay.
And the mapping, if Marcy, if you scroll down to the bottom, it shows the splits. I mean, it shows all the,
Right.
both of those maps show the 4 parcels that he's splitting. One.
So the
and-
recommendation is there.
But wouldn't they have gone to the board? We would have had.
Yeah, you would have thought so.
Approval, and I don't remember those.
On the splits?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't either. And
I don't
that's,
So
remember
it still
that
has to
either,
be approved at the board.
because we don't approve anything at the planning commission, we simply recommend.
You just recommend
It's part
it.
of your legal description right here. North Quarter, Section 28.
No, you have to have it written out.
That's just a
legal.
mark, that's just a mark.
That's
actually, if you go to
mark.
if you shrink it down and go to the next map, that actually gives you a
If I
better,
had a separate paper,
yeah, that one, there you go.
You want this?
Gives
Because
you
we
a
have
better
4
description of the
parcels
parcels.
now,
It's not-
and they need to.
It's not a legal
indicate-
description, I'm just telling you, it gives you a better visual of what the parcels look like.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean they're approved, it just says they're there,
yeah.
so.
Excuse me, gentlemen. We encourage you guys to communicate as neighbors and friends, but we're trying to conduct business and it's distracting.
Didn't realize.
So
we were-
if you can stay and watch, or you can step out and carry your conversation, so, thank you.
So I'm good with the motion that Cam made, and then we just go back and ask him to clarify on the,
And if there's a
On the
land
division.
division, or is that already completed?
We're gonna find out.
okay.
Try to find out.
We don't have documentation that's telling us that.
Nobody, yeah. I
Just
don't-
the legal
Unless there's
descriptions
some
are
new
there.
form that we're not
In
aware
the
of.
right.
So,
Right.
all right, so we have a motion, and second. Any further discussion?
Well, and I hate to ask this, I hate to be that guy, but does it make any sense, does it make sense to approve a driveway with a cul-de-sac for splits that don't
Well,
exist?
we're referring to the property.
Okay, that's
As long
fine.
as you're connected to the property,
They're gonna
you're
need
fine.
it
Yeah,
at some
okay,
point,
that's
so,
fine. I'm okay with that. I'm just asking that question.
okay.
Okay.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries. Next is request to adopt text amendments to Articles 2 and 4 and 21 of the zoning ordinance 36 relating to the keeping and display of exotic and wild animals. As you know, this was brought on by our neighbors over here on Harlan Road, where there was keeping of exotic pets, and people were coming over to his house to visit them, and it's actually brought to the attention to us by the local newspaper. So we needed to establish an ordinance, first of all, for the keeping of the pets in conjunction with local and state law, and then have to go through the process of getting them approved, as previously mentioned. Everybody's had a chance to review this. The township, the planning commission has worked on this for quite some time now, and I seem to think that everything's there, unless anybody's got,
May have a few things I marked. There's some really good comments from the review. I don't know if it was with the county that they had a review with, but there were some interesting comments. If you go, there's not page numbers, are there?
No.
Yeah, Livingston County Department of Planning, they have a memo. So if you go to part 2, oh, I wish I had page numbers. It says, they have a comment that should this phrase say "and" instead of "or"? And I thought maybe that should say "and," because then you're indicating zoological park and wildlife sanctuary. You're going to include both.
Want to see where you
All
were
right.
so I could pull it up.
yeah,
I'm not sure exactly
So
where
if you can
are.
find that says Livingston County Department of Planning memo, and then go
Which
1, 2,
date?
3,
Which
4.
date, Marta?
Yeah, which date?
Which date? Because you get two different dates. Is it the 22nd or the 1st?
Page 4, oh, September 1st, 2016,
Okay,
page
that
4.
one.
There you go.
I found it,
Okay,
sorry
thanks.
about that. Wasn't, page 3, keep going. So it just had a quick, should this say and instead of or? And if you put and, you're kind of covering both types. So that was an interesting comment, but then as you go farther along, there was other comments that if you go to page 6, there was, in reference to a county emergency management director, obviously they were involved with the review. They indicated adding the word fire to number 12, and then they kind of wanted to incorporate, like, having a plan, like you're letting the county know what is going on there, like giving them a plan. So do we want to include some of these comments and add them into what some of the language is?
What we don't have is the final draft in
Yeah.
the board packet.
Because some
And
of
usually,
those
when
comments
they-
were very interesting, like we have
Usually
an
when they
animal
do,
control.
usually when we do this, they take those considerations in.
Yeah, and just plug them into the,
Well,
So
I think
were they?
I think the letter from the planning commission is, this is the verbiage, and then to please take note of the comments, to maybe let the board decide if we do want to include those comments. But I think I had 3 areas. I had that page 4 to put the and in. Page 6 was to add the word fire to part 12. And then are we going to include County Department of Public Health and Animal Control to understanding emergency response plan? And then page 7, again, it was providing a list to the animal control. So if there's ever, as animals maybe expire, or if they add new types, there's a continuous new updated list is required, and then you also provide that list to animal control. So if there's situations or issues, they kind of know what's going on too. If there was a problem, you have more resources to handle and control something.
Going forward, Kim, I would like to see this come from the planning commission as a final text, no comments, how it's actually going to show in the document. So we can eliminate these discussions like this. Yeah.
The one thing about this gentleman, he is complied with both state and federal guidelines. And we went over everything. We found, no matter, he was very helpful in creating this. We might have missed a word, like the fire thing. As far as the disposal of the animals, he has people that do, there is no burials. It's all disposed by incineration. It's done by veterinarians that he has. And that has to be followed by the guidelines by the USDA,
Okay,
as well as the Michigan.
okay.
Right, but we're talking about the keeping of pets ordinance, right?
Pets are not.
You think they're exotic
We're not
exotic
regulating
animals.
pets at all.
Right.
These are not pets.
They're exotic animals.
They're exotic animals. These animals are wild animals. The one thing they also cannot hold is any of the local animals, like coyotes, from local
Okay.
animals from the area. Any wildlife from the area cannot be displayed.
That's probably a state law.
That's by the state law. That's regulated by the state.
Well, now, this is, we already have, this is an
picture you
existing
want, yeah?
ordinance. Because we're just amending what we currently have, but we're adding keeping and display of exotic and wild animals. Is that, am I
Right.
reading that right? Because we already have an
We
ordinance
we already
for
have an ordinance
pets.
for keeping of pets, and this is an amendment to the
To
section
expand
21
it.
to include the keeping of exotic animals.
Okay.
That's what we're trying to make it so that, and I don't want to regulate somebody having a snake. I had a snake, I mean, the thing died on me, but it was about 4 foot. He got old and died. but we did not want to go into this. Pets are pets. These are, this man is keeping animals for display purposes. I have never known or been involved with anybody that knew as much about his business as this man does. I mean, he is regulated by two entities that are very strong. We actually have, the only way we have, the only thing we can do is regulate the land use approval. We can't regulate him keeping the animals. He complies with all, he is regulated by the federal and state regulations.
So really, we're just trying to amend an existing
Yeah.
ordinance to sort of meet that situation. So if he's going to get permitted for that business, he can follow all of these guidelines.
So did you want to make a change to that and or?
I do, though, all the ones I mentioned, I would like to make.
Which were?
Okay, page 4, on that number 2, to include the word "and," as the comment indicated. And then on page 6, under number 12, to just include the word "fire," even though it indicates "but not limited to,"
Where does fire need to be included?
where you have the power outages, comma,
Perils, yeah.
fire, floods,
Okay.
tornadoes, blizzards.
Yeah.
And then I think maybe we should consider incorporating the County Department of Public Health and the Emergency Preparedness Director, that they maintain a copy of the County Animal Emergency Response Plan.
Which we haven't approved yet.
Right.
So we
But
can.
we should
can-
try to
we can-
incorporate
We can
that.
incorporate that, that's not an
Yeah.
issue.
And then again, just on the other side, that incorporates the animal, giving a list of the animal control on page 7 for number 13, that they're being provided through his annual permitting process. He is to provide us a list, and he should be providing us an updated list when there's changes to his animals, and then we can keep the county animal control informed. So include that on 13. And then there was just a small
Well, it does-
spelling error.
It says he has to do that within 10 days after the addition or subtraction, so
It's already in there.
it's already in there.
In there, okay. But do we want to include that the township will also provide that list to animal control, just so that the county level is aware of what is out there? And then under page 7, there was just a spelling error on the number 2, F2. Manner needs to be changed. Care of the animals.
It's an action, not a.
Okay.
Sounds like we just need to get the ordinance approved so that he can file
Right,
a
Correct.
zone use just to get compliant to begin with, because
right.
So do you want to make a motion with those proposed changes?
I'll make a proposition to amend the ordinance with the proposed changes that I've made comments on.
To approve the ordinance
To-
with the amended changes.
To approve the ordinance with the amended changes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Do we have a second?
That's going to be
Support.
by
Okay.
resolution, too.
So we have a motion and support to approve the zoning ordinance for exotic animals with the proposed changes. And that will be a roll call vote because this will be a resolution. So have the roll call vote, please.
Okay, Soren Peterson,
Yes.
Chuck Schultz.
yes.
David Walker.
Yes.
Mike Cunningham.
Yes.
Marna Smith.
Yes.
Cam Gonzalez.
Yes.
And Marcy Husted, yes.
You said after fire,
Make sure that we file a copy with
Oh,
the
animal control.
The
animal
emergency
control.
plan
The
and the
emergency
animal
plan and animal
control.
control.
Do you want the page number? Page 6, yeah. And then page 7 is the animal control list. And the spelling error was on page 7, too.
Next item is item number 3, the request to adopt text amendments to Article 21 to clarify shoreland regulations relating to mooring of watercraft on residential, commercial zoned use waterfronts. This is nothing more than grabbing stuff that's in our ordinance that's in different spots and putting it under Article 21. There are no changes to the ordinance, there are no wording changes to the ordinance. It's just putting it all in one spot, so it's not so confusing to understand what it is that we're trying to accomplish or what the ordinance says, rather than having to flip back and forth between different articles. It's all in one location. It'll be on Article 21. So there's no changes to the ordinance, and there's no rewording of the ordinance. It's just putting it all under Article 21.
Putting it all together, make it
Because the
simple,
language is the
clarify
same.
it, so-
You know, and this is a task that the planning commission has taken on, and, you know, I commend them for it, because, you know, it takes going through the whole ordinance books and finding things, and, over the years, ordinances get put in, and excerpts get put in, and they get put in here, and they get put in there, and, this is something that the previous board had discussed, hey, make our book easier to read, make it an easier read, and be able to access the information a lot more rapidly, and they're doing a good job of it, so.
Okay.
So moved.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to adopt the text amendments to Article 21 to clarify shoreland regulations for mooring of watercraft in residential, commercial zone, or used waterfront lots. This one needs to be a roll call vote as well.
Marna Smith,
Yes.
Cam Gonzalez.
Yes.
Soren Peterson,
Yes.
David Walker,
Yes.
Chuck Schultz.
Yes.
Mike Cunningham,
Yes,
and Marcy Husted, yes.
so that passes. Next is the request to write off uncollectible fire run services. As you see, there's an amendment. I sat down and talked about a couple of things and found out that we possibly could collect on a couple of them. So we have an amended list of write-offs. And this is basically what allows the accountant to say, hey, I'm going to write this off. So when we do our audit, the auditors look and say, hey, look, this was written off, and it was written off with board approval. We have just a couple of them that are,
Want this new list?
yeah, that's, I got too many addendums to my packet. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 fire runs where there was appeals and they were approved. So the board's already made a motion or approval on these. It's just this is to clean it up for the auditor. We had a case that was dismissed in small claims, so we need to write off that 1391. And then we have a person that's incarcerated, and their situation, we're never going to collect on them. So these are the proposed write-offs, so we can write them off as a loss, and get them off our books.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the request of the write-offs. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. So now we're on to new business number 5. It's request to renew the IT Right antivirus program for the office computers.
Yeah, this is an annual contract that we have to renew, and we've had IT Right for, I guess, around the past 10 years, and they don't raise their prices. So this is just, it's getting ready to expire. Well, actually, it's going to renew April 30th of 2017, but we're doing them all at the same time, so we're just going to do them all at once. So this is just for the antivirus software.
Moved.
Support.
Been motioned and supported to renew the IT Right antivirus protection for the office computers. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. Next is item number 6, request to renew the IT Right service contract for office technology.
Yeah, this is just the service contract so that when we need any kind of service, the it's covered under this contract. And it's an annual contract, same price as last year.
And like anytime we buy a new computer, they bring it out, they set it up, they install it, they load all the software, they make sure that the IP address is right, that it's hooked up to the network, and that everything's working. If we have a
And they
problem
come
with our
back
server, they
The
come
next
out.
week, they come back if it's not working right.
Right. So the amount of times that they come out every year and they send a technician out here, I think we would definitely eat that up in a very short time. So it's a great deal. So
So moved.
Support.
it's been motioned and supported
Nice.
to renew the IT Right service contract. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries. Next is request to renew the web hosting with IT Right for the township's website.
I think it's pretty obvious what
This is
this
just
one
the-
is. It's just annual
the-
contract for
Yeah.
the web hosting.
That's a good communication tool, so.
So moved.
Things that, there's no, they have to have them. It's like
Right.
teeth and eating, you know?
I have a motion and a second to renew the web hosting with IT Right for the township's website. Carry on.
No.
Didn't mean to interrupt you, but usually when there's a motion and second, you
That are
see.
easy, to approve, these are necessary things that we need to protection of our files. Anybody, with all the hacking that's going around lately, you know, you stop and think, and consider what damage somebody could do.
Well, especially for our website, there's a lot of information that's available there.
Absolutely.
We have our dashboard on our website that talks about where we are financially. You can see all of our financial reports, you can see our audit reports. If somebody loses a dog or a cat, they can call the township and we'll put it on there and send an email blast out, hey, lost animal. Our newsletter is on there, so information that's pertinent about elections. The amount of information that goes out on that website
On and on, so
is on and
protecting
on.
it
So for
is
$500.
nobody-
Yep. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next is item number 8, request to renew the remote backup for office computer files with IT Right.
Again,
There you go. It's been motioned and supported to renew the remote backup for office computer files with IT Right. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries. Next is item number 9, request to discharge and record the lien on parcel 4704 100 and 4704 300 003.
Okay. So this is in relation to the 74-acre parcel that we purchased at tax sale. The history of it is, this particular parcel, the prior owner ended up not paying taxes for multiple years due to hardship. There was a hardship agreement with the township from like 2009 to 2012. We ended up in litigation on that hardship agreement in 2012. The judge terminated the deferral agreement. We lost. There was a lien that was prior to that, and for some odd reason, the whole purpose of the lien was because of the sewer assessment on the 74-acre parcel. Why the lien included both parcels? Because the parcel ending with 023 has no sewer assessment on it. So now we're at the point where we are in a contract to sell the 74 acres. We need to clear
Hopped up.
the lien on the 74 acres. We might as well clear the lien on that 13 acre that's the 023. I think that's also in a sale with a broker. So it's holding them up trying to sell that 13 acres because there's a lien on the property for the title search. So I talked to the attorney. He has drafted a discharge of lien, which will make this go away, and then we can clear up title work for both the 74-acre and this 13-acre parcel and move forward. So that's where we're at with it.
So moved.
Support.
Been motion and supported to approve the discharge and record lien on both those parcels previously mentioned. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that motion carries. Next is item number 10. It's the Shoemaker Wedding Bar discussion and possible legal action. Shoemaker has a wedding barn over on Tipsco Lake Road, and they were conducting large gathering weddings and events without approval from the Planning Commission. We sent them a couple of letters that were never answered, and ultimately, we ended up issuing a stop work order with the township. Well, that got their attention, and they came into the township and they said, well, what do we have to do? So we told them that you need to go to the Planning Commission, this is the information that we need from you, and they used some pretty strong words to voice this displeasure and said that they weren't going to comply, and they stormed out. Well, I received a phone call over the weekend that there was a large gathering that was occurring over there, so our deputy was en route, and sure enough, they, against our stop work order, were having a large wedding with live music and a couple of catering trucks. I've already, some of you already may have seen it in email, I've already asked our attorney to draft a stern letter letting them know that we know that they're still conducting business out there and that we're not happy about it. And so now that this has been brought up, I don't know what we'd like to do about it. Do we want to proceed with legal action on them? Do we want to,
Blatant,
huh?
blatantly obvious, right?
Oh, yeah. they
And
will.
it's documented.
This is
they turned their
exactly
nose up.
where the enforcement things fall into play.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're gonna have it, if you're gonna issue a stop work, we better be prepared to take legal action. Otherwise, they mean nothing.
I
So-
wholeheartedly agree, but it's not my call, that's why we have to discuss this at the board table.
Yeah.
So,
Legal action is obviously the most expensive action, but at the same time, if we're going to issue those cease operations or stop works and stuff like that, and they're blatantly just crumpled up and thrown to the wayside, and business still happens,
They need to comply.
they
Yeah.
need to comply,
Stern letters
and
don't
we
mean
have to turn it over to the attorneys, and
Well, we don't have their attention.
the attorneys can get their attention.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think we should let the attorneys draft up a letter and letting them know, warning of what is coming.
Well, that's already been done. I didn't waste any time on that.
So
So-
what's the next step?
Well, we can see if the attorney gets their attention with the letter. Obviously, the stop work order didn't, and when they came in here, they made their comments and their intentions very clear in a.
So you had to call the township officer that we
The
have on
township
duty.
officer is aware of the situation, and he called me.
Okay, so it's,
I was actually. at
we're
another
using our
wedding.
resources now to deal with this. So
Sure.
either we have any fines in the zoning ordinance for any type of violations, we implement those, they're probably minor anyway. We implement whatever is in the zoning ordinance for violations.
Well, my
on top of what
only
the-
concern with that is if we issue a $50 fine, that's a pretty cheap permit for
But
having a
the
wedding.
point is why do we even have a $50 fine right now?
Well,
If we're not gonna use it, it's
Sure.
just a simple fact. Those, yeah, it may be funny, we have to follow that ordinance in that order, but we also have to follow through with the legal action as well. I think that little fine and the attorney letter,
Well, I have no problem
Well, if
issuing
we're
a
already at a
fine.
stop cease, I mean, in the ordinance, if we read what the enforcement is, we may be beyond the violation letter point.
And the
We've
officer,
already sent violation letters, we just haven't.
Yeah,
well,
actually
may be
fined. We
able
can
to
send
go
them a
straight
fine.
to
That's,
legal.
that's not an issue.
Regardless. if it's blatant, then we need to be blatant. We need to
and can we
answer.
have the officer disperse them at an event?
You know, yeah, we could. I mean, we could say we have a stop work order, but do you want to be the one to ruin some bride's night when it's not her fault? I mean, really, I mean,
Kind of.
Thing is, we need
I
to
mean-
stop it before it
Makes
has.
a
would we be
statement.
justified in doing so? Yes, but would it
Right.
be fair to them? No, it's not fair to our neighbors, so I think the proper.
We
thing
want to
is
get them to
Well, I
compliance.
think your first thing is you'll level the,
But if their
levy the
intent
fine.
is not to,
That's step one. Put context around taking legal action. Taking legal action doesn't mean anything to me. What does that mean?
It means we actually file a lawsuit against them, telling them that they either stop doing what they're doing, or they get compliant. And if they don't get compliant, then they're done. The judge will shut them down.
Okay. Then that's what we do.
We have a.
Because $50 is a cheap date for this.
Exactly. and
So
that's-
the
that's a
answer is,
cheap-
that's the next step.
We still have to use those, we have to, why not?
Follow
Just-
the
Just file it,
process.
So-
get the process, because otherwise.
Do you want to
what are we
address
there
this
for?
at another meeting as far as the legal action part, or do you want me to go ahead and authorize that?
I say
I think
follow
we
the
should go
process,
forward
and
with it.
if it includes legal action as the next step, go through with it.
I think we should go forward with it. If
I
they're
think we should
blatantly, you or the zoning administrator issued them a violation and a stop work or a stop.
Cease and desist or.
The zoning administrator did, or?
The zoning administrator, I'm the one that actually served the
So
stop
you-
work order.
You personally served it.
Yeah, they weren't there.
And they,
And I taped it up everywhere I was supposed to, and they saw it and they called us, and then they came in
Then-
and,
we need to meet that with equal effort, and, well, let's
Have
just,
they called, communicated with us at all since that happened?
not since that time.
I would say that we have a structure in the ordinances that we do 1, 2, 3 steps. My recommendation, we follow through on that, rather than try to stick our neck out legally.
Well, we
Let
have.
us follow the structures that we set
We already
forth.
have several letters that have gone out. We have a stop work order. Kind of,
issue the little fine, and
So
then,
just review where we're at in the process, because we've started the process. Let's review where we're at with it.
I mean, we can,
Continue with the process.
we can take legal action on anybody at any time.
I
There's,
think it does say that in the ordinance. I think it says that you can pursue legal.
Well, you have to have a violation. You can't take action anytime. You have to
Well,
have some cause
yeah.
of action.
right, there's an action.
I mean, otherwise, this would be a hell of a lot more fun. But,
Yeah,
But I
we can
think you're-
take it to court for being non-compliant on
Yeah.
ordinances.
but it's obvious they're going to ignore it. They're going to pay the $50 fine, but it's a
So I'll go
cheap.
ahead, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll issue the first fine, and then, see if that gets their attention. If not, then we'll go ahead and proceed with legal action. So if I can get a motion for that, I would be.
So moved.
support.
Okay, it's been motioned and supported to issue a fine to the Schumacher Wedding Barn. If that goes unanswered, then we will seek legal action to make them compliant or stop their operations. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. Miscellaneous business, item number 1.
This was just.
The
a-
treasurer's update of the credit card usage.
This was just a little fun update. We started our credit card last year, where you're allowed to pay online for tax and utility bills, and we also expanded to allow other types of services to be paid with credit card. And I just wanted to give you a little preview. So last year, from July 1st to October 1st of 2015, we brought in $12,500 under credit card payments. So now that we've incorporated the new system, from that July 1st to October 1st, 2016, we brought in $45,000 in credit card payments. So it's being used. I think it's being appreciated. If we look at the actual year, the November 1st, 2015 to our current October 11th, 2016, for that time frame that the whole system's been implemented, and we've added other types of payments, $114,000 have been used on that credit card. So I think our residents like the credit card.
I forgot to ask, I can't remember if we had this in there, but do we pass the small, a minimum payment processing?
That
We pass that on
turns,
to the
that, it
consumer?
goes to the user. So whoever's using the credit card is being told that there is a bank fee or service fee, and they can say, nope, I don't want to do that, and we just cancel out, that we don't put it that way, but there is the fee. So they're either paying 3% if it's $70 or more, a flat rate $2 if it's under $70, or if they do an online payment, there's a e-check, which I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's a flat $3. And the utility bill payments seem to use that one quite often. So just to,
That's tiny, tiny, tiny writing at the bottom, right?
oh, yeah, the little fees, yeah. But just to let you know that it's been successful, we've had it for a year, and a lot of the residents are using the online payment and using it at our office, whether they're buying a $5 burn permit, they've used their credit card and paid $2, bank fee. So crazy enough, we're in a plastic world,
Yep.
and I'm glad we implemented it, so. All right,
Good job. All right, since we have no more business, public remarks?
I hate to open up that can of worms at the end there, but cease and desist is a legal document, right?
Are you talking cease and desist or a stop work order?
Stop work order, cease and desist.
Yeah.
Liability. Township serve a cease and desist or stop order. I live in the area, somebody gets killed. Who's responsible for that point? Let it go on. I'm gonna hold the township responsible because you could have stopped it. Listen, let the people sue them. You know what, I went through this before. One person shouldn't outweigh the neighborhood. This is
largely agreed.
and you cannot look at one person that's breaking the law and going against our ordinances. I know you're trying to protect that bride, but you know, I'm sorry, you gotta protect the whole community, not just one person. And your responsibility is for the whole community. And I'm not trying to be cold-hearted here. And another thing is, they get around these things with the alcohol because they can hire a man that has a license to come in and serve the alcohol. And I went around with this with the ATF or whatever you call it and they don't regulate it, they say, okay, so who does? Okay, who does? Tyrone Hills has to have a liquor license to serve it there. Woody's has to have a liquor license to sell liquor on that property, not just one individual. You need to get something specifically says in this township, if you're gonna serve alcohol on that premise in a business, you know, you've got people that have parties. They're gonna have one-day parties. But this guy's gonna, if he does come in, he has to get a license actually to serve on that property. I mean, what is it, there's even a dance license or something like that. I was looking at the ordinance. They have,
Venue.
you know.
Venue.
But I mean, there's a lot, I went through the ordinances before. But, I mean, I'm not on the board. But if I was on the board, I'd be saying, listen, this is the community, this isn't about one person. It affects everybody around him. And I hate to be cold to the bride, but if this man continues, he's the one that's got to pay. She's going to sue the hell out of him. And I hate to do that. If you guys want to go ahead and do it, but all I want to know, you better ask the attorney. You've already got the cease and desist in. If I found out the cease and desist wasn't there, the sheriff didn't stop it. It's like letting an alcoholic give him his beer, let him drive down the road any further to kill somebody. I'm sorry. But that's why we have rules. And I mean, I'm just, there's got to be some kind of liability once you know what's going on and someone gets hurt. And that's what I'm worried about. So, I mean, I don't know all the answers, but I'm just, you know.
That's why we really just have to make sure we follow what we have in our ordinance right now, even if it's a stupid little fine at first, whatever we got to do to follow what has happened. And we have to meet this with equal force. So if they whatever energy they put into reverse it, or to go against us, we have to put the same and a little bit more
Actually,
energy back.
we've had an instance where we did not write a fine. Actually, Huff, the junkyard, it's almost cleaned up now. He's been working with the judge. The judge said, did you issue any fines on this? And we said, no. She goes, okay. It's blatant and obvious that he's violating the ordinance. That's irrelevant at this point and saves him a little bit of money. So.
Well, you got very good points there, Scott, but at the same time, this is where it gets very dangerous with enforcing an ordinance. We have to enforce it if it's there, otherwise why do we even have it?
Well, and
so-
we are.
My question was, I'd ask the lawyer about the liability. Once you gotta stop.
Yeah, then it has to be enforced, it really does, we have to back it up.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's what we're.
No matter who's.
Well, that's what
gets
we're
hurt.
doing, and if he violates that work order, then he's assuming even more liability.
I've been down that road before, I know all about it. So,
This,
You know what I'm going to say, isn't that what my neighbor,
There's no ordinance for that yet, correct? Well, just now there is,
Yeah.
now he has to comply.
okay.
Now he has to
Hasn't been in
comply.
compliance.
The land
Right.
ordinance, correct? if he's approved by federal, state, DNR, all that, all your part is the land use.
Yeah, he has to come in here now and get what they call a special land use permit, where he goes before the planning commission and they have certain criteria that they want him to meet. And that's with all special land use permits. So he'll be required to do that, and he'll have to do that within a certain amount of time.
Or he'll be in violation.
Well, like what I'm sorry, I shouldn't interrupt, but just make a comment if I can. Guys going ahead and doing it anyway, just like the parties, you know.
So I don't really know if there was a violation because there wasn't an ordinance
There
that
was
said he
not.
couldn't do
Gray area
it. You know, it wasn't anything that said he could or couldn't.
This is what you're working on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah.
add to
So
the-
we were, as a township, we're trying to decide, do we want to
After the
allow it
meeting
or not?
adjourns, I'll be more than
So-
glad to go over with it a little bit more so you can understand. Okay. Any other comments?
You didn't answer my question about the alcohol license for the property. Can we enforce that?
I don't know.
Liquor Control Commission.
Well, I've called them, they said they don't.
I'm answering your question.
Okay,
The answer is
okay,
Liquor
so we
Control
can look
Commission.
in- we can look
The
into-
township has no control over the state of Michigan liquor license. That's the Liquor Control
Township,
Commission.
We can't regulate where they serve liquor?
And that goes to the state.
That goes to the state.
That's a license.
Gives a
It's a
license.
licensure through the
yeah.
state.
These are the loopholes that get you.
There are so many laws covering that aspect of it, just like there are laws covering the zoo. There are so many laws that are already covered by the state and the federal
They
government.
said they don't regulate it. Who
There
does?
is, all we can do is control
LCC.
what happens on that particular parcel of property. We can't tell the man he can't go potty on his own 5 or 10 acres. If he has all the proper facilities to handle that, we can only regulate what is going to happen on that property. But what's on the property has already been regulated so much that we have no,
Well, all I need to know is who regulates that. I know they, because I can't find out who regulates that. I've been on the phone, they say they don't regulate it. I said it's county and township on plate. Because they can give a license to an individual to serve, they can go to a party, but not the, I couldn't get a straight answer, but I mean, no, that's what I got.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
so moved.
Okay. It's been motioned and supported to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Those opposed? Motion carries. Meeting's adjourned. All right, so